everybody, welcome back to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat. It is August the 3rd. It's approximately 5 p.m. It's kind of dark in here because it's been kind of a let's rain day, but it's not going to rain. Grab something to drink and grab a project and let's get into it. Welcome back to all of the viewers that have been here before. Welcome to the new viewers. I rearranged my craft room, so now you're seeing a whole bunch of other mess. But it is a lot neater in here. I have 3 finished objects, and I'm looking at them over here. A few whips, but only going to show what I'm working on. Not all the languishing ones. Right here beside me, you can see my red Ranunculus. That's going to be my first whip, or my first finished object. I did this in 100% merino wool, hand dyed by me. It's in black cherry. It's done on a US 8. And it was cast on with 90 stitches, and I think I did all of the raglan increases for the full thing. The whole thing, collar and cuffs, sleeves, the whole thing is done on a US 8, except for the bottom hem I did in a US 6. So I used an entire skein of yarn, and then I used all but 20 grams of the second skein of yarn, put the body on hold, picked up for the sleeves, knit 5 rounds, did a 5-round cuff, all in a size 8, because I like my sleeves to be looser, so I used the same size needle. And then I picked up the body again and knit down until I thought I was good for the hem, and I switched to a size 6, so I had that little bit of a cinch at the bottom without having a huge cinch. And I thought I was going to knit a longer hem, but honestly, guys, I was kind of over it, so I did not knit a longer hem. I started this on July the 13th, and I finished it Friday, August the 1st. It's the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose, fingering weight, US size for the pattern, largest size for the raglan, 100% merino, dyed by me, and the black cherry. I had 17 grams of yarn left from 2 100-gram skeins. I did the 2x2 rib on the bottom hem in the US 6 for just 7 rounds. I just took it off of the blocking today. It's been drying for a couple of days, so all of the ends have been woven in. I just haven't snipped them off, so I keep them longer while it's blocking. And I really haven't put it on after the blocking, so let's see what it looks like after blocking. I liked the fit before the blocking and thought that it would get a little bit larger. And this is just over an athletic shirt, so I love the sleeves because I love that I took this camping while my granddaughter was here, and it's got sticks in it still, so I'm wearing it with leggings, and it comes down like my t-shirt is a couple inches longer, and I think this would look better if it was a couple inches longer. But this is all of the yarn that I had. So I used stash yarn, made my very first ranunculus. This is one of those ends that I need to cut off. Does anybody else do that to get off subject? You weave in your ends, but you leave a long tail for when you go to block it. When you block things out, it kind of pulls the woven yarn just a little bit as it's relaxing. And then you snip the ends when you're done blocking it, because the blocking process, I've noticed if I snip them and then I block it, it kind of pulls it a little bit. I just don't like the results. But there it is. My very first ranunculus. I can see why people make more than one. I really do. It's longer than what the pattern calls for in the body, and I would want it even longer. Quite frankly, it's an easy knit. I loved it. It would be, I don't know, I just kind of got a little bored with it. Although it wasn't on the needles that long. I mean, the 13th to the 1st, a couple weeks maybe. But still, I have seen that pattern. The Ranunculus is by Midori Hirose. It's one of the #1 selling patterns on Ravelry, has been for years. I see why people like it, but quite frankly, until I've seen like Table 10 podcast, Rachel and Renee making theirs here this last month and using different yarns and making the short sleeves, and Tracy Miller from Grocery Girls doing it, and then I've seen her do a couple of them and doing short sleeves and like DK yarn and changing the needle size. It's very versatile, but honestly, the only reason I hadn't tried it until now is that stupid picture on the front of Ravelry. I hate that picture. The sweater looks like somebody took a Christmas tree skirt and tied it around them and like made sleeves. I don't like that. Those of you that do, I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like to me. You have your opinion, I have my opinion, and my opinion is usually not very well liked because I'm very blunt. I have someone trying to get in my room because he has been sleeping in my chair all afternoon, and I made him get up and leave, and the cat thinks he's a king. So, I think I mentioned on the last podcast that my granddaughter was here. She was here for 10 days. So that was the bulk of my knitting during that time. So I got that finished. The other thing that I was working on while she was here is this pair of socks. Boy, I've got pieces of paper all over. She slept in the craft room and there's paper everywhere. From me and from her. But these are Cascade Heritage prints. Don't remember the colorway. Don't have the thing. With a green contrast color that I had. I had shown these before as I was working on them. This is the free pattern blueberry waffle sock or something like that. A very similar pattern on Ravelry right now is the library socks. It's 4-stitch pattern repeat, or 4-row pattern repeat with knits and purls. I just did it on the leg. I did a short leg. Did I write that down on how long I did it? They're 64 stitch on a US one. I did them 2 at a time, heritage prints. The green mini is from Knit Pick Stroll. I decreased to 14 stitch on the toes after doing a knit 5 round, and same for the heel. I started these on June the 29th and I finished them on July the 26th. So about a month. I wasn't in a hurry. When I'd shown them before, I had shown them with a red mini. I had done the green, and I was talking about doing the green toe and the red for the heel. And when I got to looking at it, when I was ready to do all of that, I just went with green all the way around. I didn't say how many rounds I did, but let's see. Probably 50. I think the way it was going to run out by doing the pattern was it was going to be something like a 68 stitch. I do a 60 round leg and a 60 round foot, and then I do knit 5 rounds at the beginning of the toe before I start my decreases. And I think this wound up being a 56 round leg because of the way the pattern was going. And then I marked for the afterthought heel, and I did the 60 rounds for the foot, and then did 5 rounds in the green, and then started doing the decrease for the toe. And then the same thing on the heel. I do 5 rounds of knit and then start decreasing. So yeah, 2x2 German twisted cast on. That's that pair. The next pair that I did are socks for my partner. They're 64 stitch on a US 1, and they're by the Chapelle Zauberball. And this color says Bestelheimer. Does it have a colorway? I'll just hold this up if you can read it. Don't know if it's gonna make it where you can read it, if it's got numbers or not, but that shows the gradient. I just finished these. I started these also on June the 29th, and I finished them last night, which is August the 2nd. This one is like, normally I do his the same way that I do mine, with the 60 round leg, the 60 round foot, and then the 5 for the toe. I was in a meeting when I did the very first sock in this one. So I had the cuff done. It's, I didn't make notes. It's German twisted cast on. I just started from the ball. I didn't care in what order it went. I think I did like 15 rounds of 2x2 rib, and then I was just knitting in the round. And I didn't have any stitch markers in a meeting with me. And I was in a meeting and I was knitting. And then I looked down, I get out of the meeting, and I had knit a lot. And I had already knit like 72 rows. And I was like, I am not tinking back 12 rows of knitting. So I just did 75 rounds for the leg. So it gave it a really nice long leg. I did the vanilla is the new, is that what it's called? Vanilla is the new black heel, which is like a ribbed heel. I don't know if you can see that very good. It starts here and it's ribbing that goes and increases out, and then you do a heel turn and you're just decreasing back down till you get in the round. And then I did 60 rounds for the for the foot, and then I placed a marker and I did 5 knit rounds and then started with the decreases. So I guess you could say I do a 65 round foot, but if I'm doing a contrast toe, I go ahead and do the 5 rounds in the contrast color. But these are all in that one color. I love the gradient in that color. There's the heel a little bit better. I just put these in. I hung them up today. They're almost dry. They're just a little bit damp. What else was I gonna say about that? Oh, the leftover was 16 or 17 grams, and that's the leftover from 100 gram. I kept it in this little, I picked it up as a pencil case. So I got that one. And I got this one. They're just clear vinyl pencil cases that I grabbed at Walmart. I kept the Zauberball socks in here with needle and stitch markers. This is I didn't do the whole pattern, which I will, but this is in a black and white, so, but you can see it a little bit. It's the vanilla is the new black sock. I know Nitty Natty on her podcast, she's done this sock before. I think the whole pattern of the sock. So you can learn more from her. I don't know. The last I heard on her podcast is she had made that sock pattern once or twice, but she had not worn the socks yet with that heel pattern. I think it's supposed to be something like a strong heel. It's really cute. I think I'm gonna do the whole sock pattern from start to finish and see how that goes. I like it. Let's see, what else have I... Those are the finished objects. Sorry if the table keeps shaking. I have you up and it's just, I'm touching the table. So I guess from there we will go into whips. And we'll start with the Legacy Fiber Arts in my cherry pencil case. This is a 50 gram skein in here, and it's mini. So that gives you a little bit of reference on how big this is. That other ball was 100 grams, and it fit in here. So there you go. This is the yarn that I'm using. It would help if I grab the tag. It's from Legacy Fiber Arts. And this is the Practical Magic Micro Sock Kit in the steel toes. It's a 75-25 merino. There you go. So the micro sock kit is you get the 20 gram mini and the 50 gram main skein, and that's enough to do a pair of socks with contrasting heels and toes. And this is where I am at so far. I did my cuff. I think I did 20 rounds on this cuff. I usually just do 15, but this one I did 20. So I did the cuff with the German twisted cast on, 64 stitch on a US 1, and then it's just a plain vanilla sock from there. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go. I have my Twinkle Dipple stitch marker on there. So far, I think I've done 20 rounds on the leg, almost 30 rounds. I don't know. I wanted the cute stitch marker, so that's my first 10 round. And then this is 20 rounds, and then it's whatever past that. So I'll see. But I started those on July 27th, and I did do a 1x1 20 round cuff. I don't normally do 1x1, so I did make a note of it. And just to show you, I just have a traveler's notebook, and I have a setup that is called, if I can get to it, it's called Projects, and I have a sticker that was given to me with a skein of yarn, and I'm just keeping my yarn labels in there on what I'm working on. Stickers. There's another sticker. I don't know where that one's from. It doesn't say. It was sent to me in something. But, yep, just keeping my labels. And I tried to do a few notes about different things. I'm trying to get better at if I'm changing things up, or if I, like this pair of socks is in a 1x1 rib. I normally do a 2x2. So I made a point of taking a note and saying that it's a 1x1 rib and how many I did. Because especially if I'm doing them one at a time like this, 2 at a time socks, it took me, what was that? June 29th to July the 26th. It took me to make a pair of socks 2x2, or 2 at a time. But you have to remember, I didn't knit on them constantly. I have a tote bag that I'm carrying back and forth. It has my traveler's notebook, my wallet, my day planner, some pens. I throw this into my tote bag and it goes back and forth to work with me every day. So I have something to work on if there's meetings. The green ones that I just finished for my partner, that daisy bag sat on my desk during the week, and then on the weekend I would bring them home. Or if I got close to, like, I just needed to do the toe on the one sock or something like that, I'd bring it home that night, do the toe, and then take it back. That's what I do. Not anything particular. I'm going to throw this tag away now because I'm finished with those socks and I've shown them. That was the Zauberball tag. I may regret that later, but now the fun stuff. My duty from my Kelborn Andorra yarn. I started that ranunculus because I was getting fed up with the duty. I finished that ranunculus instead of working on the duty. I've been trying to put in a round, maybe 2 rounds a day. It's not happening every day. I love the yarn. This yarn is, like I was saying, the Kelborn Knits Andorra, which is 60% merino, 20% Highland wool, 20% mohair. It's color 057 Cloud Gray. It's a DK Andorra Cloud Gray. I didn't realize it had mohair in it, honestly. I just thought that was the wool that I was filling, because it's not like, it's prickly, but it's not a over prickly like whenever I put mohair close to my neck. I look right weird. I didn't write down when I started this. I started it, took it all apart, restarted it because I was measured properly. And I'm going to show you, I went down a size in what I'm doing, but it's still properly big. This is me. Let me see if I can back up some. So if it was fitted, it'd be like this, but it's not. It's a little oversized, which is nice. I mean, I don't mind oversized. This is about as fitted as I get. That ranunculus is about as fitted as I'll get. That's the first thing that I knit that's that fitted. I take that back. The Alpine Bloom, the Miserina, and the Ranunculus all fit about the same. And I do like them. I do like them. But this is a bottom up. It looks like it has a rolled hem, but it's not going to have a rolled hem, and I can't really show it because you go back and there's a crochet hem at the bottom. So I knit it more from the pickup to where it says to increase. There's some increases under the arm, and then you split the front from the back, and then you're supposed to knit it to where it's like a certain length from the bottom hem up to here before you do your neck and sleeve shaping for the back. Okay, that marker, that shows where it goes from being knit in the round to knit flat. I'm sure you can see my tension difference. Pretty sure, because I can right off the bat. But then again, you know, you can see purl bumps on this side where you're purling and you can't see it from here. I don't remember where I was at the last time I showed this. I think I had just split for the back. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm about 3/4 of an inch away from doing the neckline and shoulder shaping for the back piece. Is it going to be done for flock this weekend? No. Was this going to be my flock top? Yes. Am I sad that it's not going to be done? No. It's supposed to be hot. I'll wear my ranunculus for flock this year, and I have my alpine bloom, and I still want to take the yoke off my Mizarina and rework the yoke and put the body back on it because I kind of want to make it larger and I want to do it right. And I'm not unhappy about that because of the situation that was knit in. But I love this. I'm on my second skein of Andorra. It's 50 gram skeins is what it comes in, I think. And I'm on my second one, and yes, it's a 50 gram skein. I'm on my second, maybe third. No, I'm on my second since I restarted it. It's gonna be oversized. I think the loose is gonna be good. I sat down. The reason I was talking about this like I sat down this morning. It's Sunday. I can work on it. I've put maybe number one, it's knit flat point. So you're knitting across and then turning and purling back, and then knitting across and turning and purling back. I don't have an issue with the purl rows. I knit continental style, so the way I knit, I'm just holding everything in my hands, and I have my yarn coming up through my left hand, and that's pretty fast for me. And I heard, what's his name, from Losing My Knit yesterday say that when you have to make the larger garments like we do, you learn to knit fast. And I learned continental so I can knit faster because my garments are larger. I'm usually making on most patterns the 2XL and up, because once you hit a 52-inch bust, 53-inch bust, because I'm right between a 52 and 53 is the size. I like the fit of a 54 to a 56, so I like it a little bit like 1 to 2 inches of positive ease. So when you're knitting that large, number one, you feel your self-esteem go down because people call that 3-4 extra large on some patterns, and it's really not. Expecting everybody to be a small medium and have a 28 to 36 inch bust only is being unrealistic. But that's my rant over. Sorry. The knitting part is what gets me on working flat. When you come back around and you have to knit those purls, that to me is hard. It just feels, I don't know, just feels awkward to me. The actual knitting in the round and purling doesn't bother me at all. So that little rant over. What else do I have? I brought in like 3 different whips. The next whip that, I sat down this morning. Let me grab this. Sorry. I don't mean to look away and still talk, so I needed to stop. I sat down this morning to work on the Duty by Fiber Tales, and I do knit row, purl row, knit row, and I'm like, I'm done. That's how I feel about working in flat most of the time. So I was like, I have that one pair of socks. Maybe I should work on those socks. I have the log cabin knit squares that I'm doing. I haven't touched them. Maybe I should do that. I'm kind of bored with what I'm working on. I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, I've got all these blankets. I've got this shawl. I have, my reading shawl. I have in a basket I'm not touching. I have the hat that I'm working on that I'm not touching. Nothing was bringing me joy. So I was like, okay. I had this Knitology yarn that I had caked up. I love the colors. I caked it up to do a pair of socks. And I caked it up after I finished that heritage print socks and was going to do another pair of 2 at a time. The way this has that big bluish gray stripe in it throughout, I kind of wanted to start in the same place with the socks, and I was going to have to wind off 50 grams of this so that I could set it up, and I was like, I don't really want to do all of that. I really don't want to do all that. I just did not want to. So this Knitology yarn is the block sock. This was back when Knit Crate had their monthly. This is the color Buoy, superwash merino, and nylon. It's an 80-20. I don't think it's actually focusing on that, but that's what it is. It's called Buoy. I didn't want to split it into 50 gram skeins. So I started a Salish cap. And the Salish cap is put out by Blue Sky Fibers, I want to say. It's Blue Sky Fibers, and it was designed by Mary Pranika. It's black and white, but you can see the name. You can see that it's a hat. It's a very simple hat. It's fingering held double to make a marl. That's where you're getting that marl color. This is pulling from the outside and the inside of this one ball. Yes, it can be a tangled mess, but I have learned that if I keep it laying, I'll show you. If I keep it laying like this, and I pull this way toward this side for the outside, and I can just pull this, this usually will come off and around without getting tangled with this. So it does take some yarn management. My partner helped me kind of straighten it out this morning because I had it all ready, was gonna do socks, and then I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead and knit them one at a time, and I'll start with that big old long gray that was on the outside. And it just keeps going and going and going. And I was like, no, not going to do it. This is a simple, cheap cap. It's called the Salish cap. Kevin from Needles at the Ready made it. I think Ray from Needles at the Ready may have made one. If you have leftover fingering weight yarns, you can put them together and make a whole new thing out of it. Like in my basket here, I have a basket just for my hats. And it's on a size 8 needle, so it's on a large needle. I have these. I'm thinking about marling for one. This is some sock yarn. There's no yarn band. There's no yarn band for this. And I thought about, because this is from the inside and this green is from the outside, I thought about just marling it from the inside and outside like the other one. And then I was like, I don't know. I have this white. Maybe I could just use this white. There's no band on that. And just mix it together. I have to see. I think this says that you can use what does it say? Size 8 needle. It didn't say. It is a relaxed 14-inch and fits up to a 24-inch head circumference. It's a one size. I know it only takes about, I've done it before. I used yarn scraps. I want to say 40 grams to make the hat, but I'm not quite sure. If I remember right, you can use two 20-gram minis and you can get a hat out of it, but don't quote me on that. I just picked it up and started it, and this is just a few minutes of working on it. And then I was sitting there and I was like, oh, there's a different hat that I haven't done yet. It's called the Free Breakfast. It's on Ravelry. Wasn't sure if I really wanted to do that. I printed off my tickets for Flock this weekend, and I printed some patterns while I was doing the printing. So I printed up the pattern for a free breakfast. And basically what it is a waffle stitch hat. So that waffle stitch pattern that I did on those heritage print socks, it's basically that type of print on or stitch on a hat. So that's going to be kind of fun. I have so many one skeins of sock yarns that, I mean, I make socks constantly. I don't know. I'm working on the hat. I don't know if I'm going to make socks with them all. I started putting, like I said, in a box. I have socks for my partner in a box, and I have a box for myself where I'm putting these socks. So these socks will all go in the box. The same thing with the socks too. I weave in my ends, but I don't snip the ends of them until after they're blocked. That's where I learned to do that, is from socks, because I would weave in my ends on the cuffs, and then I would block, and I would snip them, and I would block it, and then I'd have these little yarn tip ends hanging out of the cuff of the sock, and it annoyed me. That's why I started doing that. Now, the last whip I'm going to show you is what I started after this Salish cap. I was sitting there, and I was actually watching A Town Called Yarn. It's a YouTube channel. He's funny, from the UK, and he was showing his I don't know why I'm trying to think of the name of it. I have the pattern right here. Brilliant Brickwork Wrap. I do have the pattern, but I can't show you all of that. So there it is. I love it. It's called the Brilliant Brickwork Wrap by Amy Crumpton. It's on Ravelry. It's made to use a advent. So you do like one side, and then you do this side, and you meet them together, and the white here is the contrasting color, and then the main color is the advent colors. So you can do, what does it say? It's on a US 4. It ranges, after blocking, it says it should be a 14-inch wide by 60-inch long. And it says the Brilliant Brickwork Wrap is a fun combination of ever-changing yarn colors, relaxing garter stitch, and interesting construction methods that provide an addictive knitting experience. The project is created for adventurous beginners and beyond, providing a row-by-row instruction and end-of-row counts throughout the project. The rectangular wrap is created in garter stitch and slip stitch edges. It's reminiscent of a log cabin type knitting project where stitches are picked up by using the slipped edge stitches from the previous section. It's created in 2 pieces, which are then joined at the center with the side triangles, so no seaming is required. It's fingering weight yarn, but can be done in any weight, although the amounts of yarn and overall size will change. The pattern is designed to use a 24 10-gram mini set for the main colors and a 100-gram skein of contrast color to create a colorful graphic design. However, in the design modification section, there's a number of possibilities, including how to use 12 20-gram sets and 10 grams sets. So it's like amazing. I wish I could show you the pattern, but it's a paid for pattern. I saw him knitting this up in one of his advents, the YouTube channel, A Town Called Yarn, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's cool. And then he showed it today finished, and ding, loved it. Once I saw the finished object, I was like, I have to have it, and I know what I want to do it in. I have stash yarns, and I'm going to use them. I'm using one of my hand-dyed yarns from several years ago. I'm using some Cascade Heritage, some Cascade 220 fingering, and a skein of Always Be Kind fingering. And I'm loving it. And when she says that there is detailed description, it's a 13-page pattern, and each and every section has line by line detail in it. I love it. It's a simple repeat, but to get the different changes, it's amazing. This has got to be the best pattern I've purchased in a while. And I sat down and I thought, I know what I want to do it in. These are the colors that I'm doing it in. I'm going to hold them up. This is the colors. Okay? That's it. Very purpley. Looks very close to the same color, those 2 purples. That looks very bright. That's a little bit better. You can't really get it. I'm going to show you what I have on the needles. This is it so far. I think you can kind of see the contrast where you can see it in true life. There's a twinkle dimple stitch marker. This is the first bottom edge. This purple is my contrast color. This purple is my main color 1. The zebra has purple and minty green. I don't know if you can see it in there. Is my main color 2. And then this green is the one that I dyed. That's going to be my main color 3. I really wanted to have the green input by end of day. So this is one section, this is another section, this is another section. And the way she has it on hers, you can see what I'm going for. So you have the white as the contrast color. And that contrast color is in between each of these colors. So this purple, it's a lighter purple. It's Cascade Heritage, or Cascade 220 fingering. It is color 1024. So I have no idea what that is. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Love it. Had it in my stash. I had one skein. I don't care if they differ or anything like that, but that's my contrast color. So that's the one that's going to go in between all of these colors. And then you see this green right here. I don't know which end is the beginning, but this is what I'm going to show you because it's easier. Let me take it out of that. So that green right there, this is my purple, and then this green is the next purple that I have, which is this darker one, which you really can't see on camera here, the differences in them, but this one's brighter and this one's not. And you can kind of see the difference right here. You can see the lines. But that green is what this one is right here. And then this zebra, that's better. It looks a little muted when it's wrapped up. This is Always Be Kind yarn. It says zebra sock yarn. I got that from Stringfield Yarn Collective in Springfield, Oregon. Cozy Yarn is in Eugene. Stringfield is in Springfield. It's a good play on the name. But that's my next section. So see how she has this green, bluey green, and then that different color green where she used 2 different mini skeins? In mine, it goes this way. So this looks like it's this end. Oh, I think it's just the way it's laid out. So mine goes in the zebra yarn up this way, and then in the zebra yarn back that way. So it's like this very first one where it looks like that triangle. Mine's working in the colors like that. And that's what we have here, and that's what I'm working on. So I have that first section going across, and then I'm working that second piece of it. And then, as you can see, that purple in between. When this is done, there'll be that purple in between on both sides. So this lighter purple, and then that next section will be the green. I pulled the colors out of this skein of yarn. Now I'm probably going to need to get more. I know I'm going to need to get more of the contrast color, because this is a 50-gram ball. But where I bought it at Nitty Gritty in Lebanon, Oregon, I think she has the same dye lot. But you know what? Even if it's not the same dye lot and it's close to the color, because it's not really right next to each other, I'm not minding that at all, because like I said, it's not right next to each other. This is the most potato chippy thing I have worked in a long time. So I started that today. I started it this morning, and that's all I've done today is work on this. When you see it in real life, you can actually see, I don't know if you can here, a little bit up against my gray top, maybe, that it's a little lighter than this one. And then there's those divots in the middle. I'm pulling colors from a single skein of yarn that I really liked, that when I bought it, I thought, oh, that is so cool, that I was going to make socks out of. And then I was like, why do I want to make socks out of that? It'll be stuck in my shoe. Nobody will see it. And then I was like, oh, I'll make a hat. No, I'm not, because I have several hats and I only use them at certain times. So I thought it'll never get seen. I'm making this wrap. And I'm loving it so far. And I pulled skeins out that I had in my stash. I pulled one out that I dyed because I don't have that much green yarn. And for some reason, lately, I have needed green yarn, like the socks. But what I was getting at is it's made for 12 20-gram minis. And I'm using 3 100-gram skeins for those 12 20-gram minis. So I'll have plenty of this because I'm alternating them. It's going to be purple, zebra, and then green. And I probably cannot hold that the way it needs to be held for you to see it in the migrating colors. But that's my thing. Purple, zebra, and then green with this in between each one. And I think without holding them up close to each other, that you can see the difference in the two purples now. And it all pulls from this one skein of yarn. So, Stash Bash. I've only had this in my stash for 2 months. I want to say since June. The 1st of June. Yeah, because that's when Stringfield opened up. So it's only been in my stash for a couple months, but these others have been in my stash for a while. So that's nice. And I like it. And I have some advents coming, and I think they would be great. And we'll see where I get to with that. But now that I've talked your ear off for an hour, and I really didn't have all that much to show, I'm going to sign out for now. I hope that you're enjoying whatever it is that makes you happy. Remember to do one thing every day that makes you happy. I'm just reading a picture that's hanging on my wall, and it dawned on me. It's once in a while, right in the middle of an ordinary life, love gives us a fairy tale. Love that. Um, that was bought for me. Thank you, sweetheart. Um, it's just little. When I looked up to think about what I wanted to say and I read that, that's exactly what I wanted to say. It's the little things right in the middle of your day that happen that can make you happy. And if you're having a bad day, take a walk, take 3 deep breaths, and do something that makes you happy for 5 minutes, and you'll feel better. Believe me. Um, Stress has been a thing with me. And since I've started doing little, minimal 5-10 minute things every day to help relieve that stress, I have felt better. So, do something that makes you happy, get something that makes you smile, take those deep breaths, and enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.